In this lesson, we're going to learn how to process query strings in Python. And learning this task will set us up to be able to learn how to do more involved form processing with Python. So let's go ahead and get started. A query string is just a set of key value pairs that are returned via the URL to a CGI program. I'll show you the format of how a query string looks when we test our code, but let's go ahead and write our program first. So we're going to call this program querys.py. First thing we need to do is import a few libraries, CGI, OS, and sys. Next thing we do is begin writing out our HTML. So we'll start out with the header. So it's content type text HTML with some r /n pairs 2. Then we need a blank line, so we'll type that next. Then we're ready to start writing out the HTML. I'm going to skip the meta tags this time to save a little time and space and just go straight into HTML, understanding that in a real valid web page we'd start out with our .type tag and those types of things. Now let's write a heading. We'll call it query string. Now here comes the processing part. First thing we have to do is get the query string into our program. We do that using a special function of the CGI library called field storage. Field storage will return the query string and store it in a variable. We call our variable form. Then the next step is to pull the key value pairs out by pulling out the keys, which we can do via a function called keys from our form variable, which will take each key and pull it out and store it in the variable field. And then we are going to write out a formatted string that consists of the key and the value associated with the key. We will put an arrow between each key and value and then a break tag so it will go to the next line. And then write out the field value that we pulled out earlier at the top of the for loop, and then use that field value to retrieve the value by writing form subfield.value. Then all we have to do is close out our HTML. So we write /body/HTML, and that should be all we have to do. Save the file. So let's run it. Tells us it's serving on port 8000. So then we open a browser and we type localhost 8000/querys.py question mark to begin the query string. That's the delimiter that it's looking for. And let's retrieve the remaining living beetles and the instruments that they play. So, or an instrument that they play. So we'll write Paul equals bass. That's our first key value pair. Notice that the key and the value are delimited by an equal sign. And then we put an ampersand and then the next key value pair, like so. Then hit enter, and there's our results. Our program found Ringo and drums and Paul and bass. Notice that it put them in reverse order, kind of like a stack, last in, first out. But nonetheless, it works. And again, notice the format of the query string. When you process a form in Python, when the data is sent to the program, it will be in this query string format. So kind of get used to what it looks like. Here's the script one more time. Again, all the work is done in these 3 lines of code right here, where we pull the query string data out using field storage and then loop through all the keys in the form variable and pull out the data right there, or the value that's associated with the field. So that's how you process query strings. So we're ready to move on to the next lesson where we'll see how to process a more complete form using Python.